This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet world, West Alabama. How we doing today on this rainy Thursday right here in Tuscaloosa, West Alabama? This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. We've had a lot of action going on the BamaCentral YouTube channel this week. We appreciate everybody who has jumped in and subscribed to the BamaCentral YouTube channel. You can also find the show on my own social media platforms, the Joe Gaither 6 on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. You can always find me at Joe Gaither 6 on your favorite social media machine, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you like. It's at Joe Gaither 6 to send me your comments, questions, queries, or complaints. You're welcome to send me a complaint. That's A-OK. And we appreciate everybody who jumps in and subscribes to us on their favorite podcast platform, the Joe Gaither Show, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or on Amazon. So let's do it. We're going to get ready for a big old trip. We're going to Wisconsin tomorrow. We've had a lot of fun this week hanging out in the Malmore facility. We obviously heard from the coordinators, offensive and defensive coordinator and head coach on Monday. We heard from several players on Tuesday, and we heard from several assistant coaches yesterday. So we're ready for the week. We're ready to go to Wisconsin. Oh, yeah, there we go. My man Stingray commenting, and you can too. Joe Gaither sucks. Oh, man, we hope we don't lose Stingray. If we lose him, that's okay. We can gain you. You're welcome to chime in just like Stingray did on the comments. But we're ready for the trip. So we've got several topics to get into on the day. We're going to talk about players to watch. We're going to talk about connections in the game. We're going to talk about Tyler Van Dyke and if Alabama's offense will be any better. But before we do that, we want to tell you about our friend Derek Daniel and State Farm. It's a rainy day today, so you're going to have to be weather aware on the roads. Make sure that your auto insurance is looking good today because you never know what's going to happen. Call him 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Derek Daniel, like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel and State Farm is there. You can find him just off of McFarland Boulevard, 4604 Highway 69 North in Northport, Alabama, 35473. Derek Daniel is my friend. He'll be your friend as well. He knows the area inside and out, born and bred in Tuscaloosa. So anything that you need with your home, your life insurance, definitely all your auto insurance needs, he can handle it. Call him at 205-758-3391. And we appreciate Derek Daniel sponsoring the program. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into it for the day. You've heard everything. You know Alabama, you're 16.5 point favorite against Wisconsin at 11 a.m. We've gone over some of the offensive line issues that were in the South Florida game. We'll talk about offensive line again today. But let's start today with kind of connections. Let's start to kind of picture what we're going to see by drawing on what we have seen already. Connections in this game. Look, Luke Fickell is head coach for the Wisconsin Badgers, and this will obviously be Alabama's first time playing Wisconsin with Luke Fickell as the head coach, but it won't be Alabama's first time playing Luke Fickell, at least not even recently. Luke Fickell was the head coach for the Cincinnati Bearcats, and you all remember Alabama and Cincinnati met in the Cotton Bowl in December of 2021, the semifinal. Alabama beating Cincinnati 27-6, holding Desmond Ridder, then quarterback Desmond Ridder. I believe, is he still with the Falcons? Is he third string quarterback for the Falcons, or is he out of the NFL at this point? But holding Desmond Ridder to 17 of 32. Remember these numbers. I think these are going to be important. 17 of 32, 144 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. So a meh day. Didn't make any plays, but you didn't cost your team the loss either. Brian Robinson, you all remember Brian Robinson was a total bull in that game. 26 carries, 204 yards. But, of course, it was Bryce Young, 17 of 28, 181 yards. Not flashy there, but 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. So Bryce Young getting Alabama into the finals that year, obviously losing to Georgia. That was a bummer. Jamison Williams getting hurt against Georgia. That was a bummer. But Alabama holding Cincinnati to 74 yards rushing and 218 total yards on the day. All right. I think that's kind of important because I think that's going to kind of show you what we're walking into this week, obviously with a different team, but a little stylistically speaking here. Now, another connection in the game. Tyler Van Dyke. Alabama has played against Tyler Van Dyke before. Use played in quotation marks for those of you who are listening on the and cannot see me. Quotation marks on played. Tyler Van Dyke was subbed into a game, Alabama against Miami, the same year, week number 1 of that 2021 season. Right there, was that in Atlanta? Yes. Alabama beats the brakes off of Miami 44-13, but Tyler Van Dyke is subbed in for De'Aaron King when it's already over. There's five minutes left in the game, 5:17 left to play. Tyler Van Dyke went 0 for 1 passing. He had 3 carries for 17 total yards. He went minus one, then 0, and then he did break one off for 18 yards. So Tyler Van Dyke, just a teeny bit of experience against Alabama in garbage time. Hardly would call that very much experience to lean on, but he has been hit by an Alabama jersey before. We'll just say that, and so he'll carry that into this week. So you combine a little bit of experience with Luke Fickell, head coach for Wisconsin, and a teeny, even less experience, even little fewer. Even less experience for Tyler Van Dyke, and that's some of the connection points for this weekend's game. Obviously, for the Alabama staff, it's Colin Hitchler. Colin Hitchler, Alabama safeties coach, was the secondary coach for Wisconsin last season. He was there for just 1 year. He spent time in South Alabama with Kane Womack before that, and has reunited with Kane Womack here at Alabama. So there's kind of some just connections, but I do think that everybody's got this picture in their mind of Wisconsin and what they're going to be trying to do this weekend. It's Big Ten football. They're going to, I formation. They're going to get into heavy package. They're going to get into 13 personnel. They're going to get into 23, two tailbacks and 3 tight ends, 23 personnel. They're going to get all big formation, but that's not really what Luke Fickell is wanting to do. He's going to be trying to spread the ball out and get after the passing game. It's going to be interesting to see Alabama really respond. You're going to have hopefully, I think you're going to have another opportunity for a lot of guys in the defensive backfield to play, because you're going to be getting lots of opportunities, lots of passes thrown your way. Go back to that Desmond Ridder game, 17 of 32. I think that you're going to have to get Tyler Van Dyke. I think he's going to be asked to throw the ball about 30-something times in this game. And I think he's going to be thrown into an Alabama secondary who's ready to make some plays. Wisconsin has 11 different pass catchers on the season so far. 5 different wide receivers have caught a pass. Only 1 passing touchdown, though. Tyler Van Dyke's not really a dynamic quarterback. Now, Desmond Ridder was, but at least for the college level. But Tyler Van Dyke, not really dynamic. He's I've been watching him a little bit. I think a little bit of a poor man's Haynes King, per se. Haynes King, a good enough passer at Georgia Tech and a very, very tough runner in the open field. You all watched that season opener against Florida State, how well and how much toughness he ran with and played with from the quarterback position. I think you see just a teeny bit of his game because he can run with the ball. Tyler Van Dyke, he has 406 yards passing this season. Now, look, Wisconsin has played the Little Sisters of the Poor and then some. You play Western Michigan and you play South Dakota, FCS South Dakota. And while North Dakota has a good little program, I think South Dakota is a good little program as well, but not near on the level of national championship like North Dakota. Like, you're playing South Dakota and you've managed 406 yards passing through your first 2 weeks. Only 1 touchdown. Now, no interceptions the first couple of weeks, right? So you're doing well in that department, but just kind of a mediocre quarterback, just a guy per se. And so for Alabama, I think you're in for a game that you just have to go out there and play your game. He's run the ball just a little bit, 14 carries for 17 yards and the touchdown on the ground as well. I think you hem Tyler Van Dyke in. You get after him in the passing game. They've given up 3 sacks. Wisconsin, they've given up 3 sacks through their first two games against, again, Western Michigan and South Dakota. Do you think that Alabama can get 3 sacks on their own this week? I think they can. I think you look at the pass rush of Jamarian Latham and what Tim Keenan's been able to do lately, especially winning SEC Co-Defensive Player of the Week this past week. I think you see Tim Smith, his veteran kind of ability to be a sneaky pass rusher. He gets in there at times. Jaheim Otis has come on. You've got a really deep group for Alabama up front. And while Wisconsin still has size up front, just like they traditionally have had, they're not going to be in the power I. I think they are going to try to get downhill on you. You look at their running game; they've got several different running backs who have made plays so far this year. But I think that really they're going to be trying to dink and dunk you down the field and just take what you give them, which will give Alabama a lot of opportunities, I think, to get after them and create some turnovers. You heard Kane Womack this past week talking about how upset he was that you didn't get a turnover against South Florida. I think there's going to be some opportunities here against Wisconsin. You look at the running game: Chez Malusi, Cade Yakimelli, and Tywee Walker. They've got fun names to say, but is there anyone that really scares you? I think Chez Malusi is a tough runner. I think Tywee Walker is a tough runner, but I don't know that the running game is really that scary to you, anybody that's going to be taking over the game. So you play your assignments, you go up there, you block out the noise. I think you're going to be A-okay from a defensive perspective. I mean, look, the Alabama defense hasn't been bad at all this year. You've had a couple moments. Obviously, you had Byron Brown have a couple of moments of passing the ball over some Alabama defensive players' heads this past week that he just missed, and you had a couple of moments where you were some busts on the edges and some protections, but largely through 2 weeks against inferior opponents, you've had really good defensive efforts. And so I think the Alabama defense is going to be playing another strong game this weekend and will be relied on, because all the questions for this team are around Jalen Milroe, around the offensive line, around the execution of the offense, around can Alabama not turn the ball over? Can you not have, 7, 8, 9 holding penalties in the game? I think that defensively you go up to Wisconsin with a lot of confidence. It all goes to the offensive side of the football. So we want to talk about Alabama's offense. We want to talk about if Alabama's offense is going to be better. And then we're going to talk about 3 players to watch. And then we will get out of here for the day. We're going to record a Football Friday episode later on Thursday, and we'll play it on Friday because we will be traveling to Wisconsin on Friday, and we cannot wait to do that. If you want to check out our thoughts on Missouri Boston College, we had an episode with both of our Joe Gaither show on Mizzou Central and Joe Gaither show on BC Central. We had a joint episode with the two ventures since we are partners with both of their sites. You can find that on those sites as well if you are curious about our thoughts on Missouri and Boston College. But here we go. Before we get into Alabama and its offense, we want to tell you about Purple Turtle Roofing. It is storming in Tuscaloosa today. The wind is howling. The wind is going crazy. And we want to tell you about the most reliable residential roof replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. Hopefully you don't need them, but if you do, it's Purple Turtle Roofing. Whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. Purple Turtle Roofing is the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for a free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure you're prepared for any and all of life's storms. I know it's storming right now, so I hope that none of you guys need them bad, but if you do, call them 877-787-6635 and make sure that you are prepared for whatever life throws your way. You can visit them online at www.roofturtle.com as well. And we appreciate Dustin Foley being a part of the Joe Gaither show right here on BamaCentral. So let's get into it. The biggest questions for Alabama is the offense. Will Alabama's offense be more consistent this week? I mean, look, if you don't have the holding penalties that you had this past week, then you put up 2 more touchdowns at least, And, okay, let's say you strike off 3 holding penalties, right? You had one on Gino Vandermark that cost you a touchdown. You had one on Wilkin Formby that cost you a touchdown. And then let's pick out the other Wilkin Formby holding that was that negated a Kobe Prentice 50-yard reception, right? You had a pass interference that washed out both plays. Take those 3 things away. You had 42 points. What's 14 more? That's 6 is 56, right? 56-16, and you're feeling even better about a 40-point win. You're saying, oh, South Florida, you weren't that good. Look, it's just simple execution, little execution. And this past weekend's game, I know lots of people walked out of Bryant-Denny Stadium cussing and spitting and crying and doing all kinds of things, sweating. But just a few adjustments. You don't have these holding calls. And look, you're going to have holding calls. This is part of football. But you can play a lot better than you did on Saturday night from the offensive line perspective. And here's good news for you. You heard it last night on Hey Coach, right there from Baumhauer's, and you saw it on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, YouTube channels, all that sort of thing. Kalen DeBoer talking about Alabama's offensive line health, basically said that Caden Proctor is doing better, that he looked good in practice the first 2 days. They practiced Tuesday and Wednesday. They're going to practice again today, or they already did practice, again today, and then travel. Caden Proctor, he said he looked good. I think you should expect Caden Proctor to play. I think that if they really needed him, I think if it was the Super Bowl this past week against South Florida when it wasn't, I think if it were against Georgia, if it were an SEC championship game, that he and Elijah Pritchett both would have started. But now that it is a more difficult opponent in a very challenging environment, I think he's going to be set to play this week. I think that he obviously, the time that you gave him to rehab and rest was beneficial. But so I think you're going to see him play left tackle this week, and that should make everybody start to feel better because the line will start. We'll take one big step of coming together. You kick Tyler Booker back to left guard, and not that he did bad at left tackle. No, he did fine. He played admirable. I mean, obviously he had 2 penalties as well, but he did fine. I mean, he struggled with rushers cutting inside of him, which jammed some things up for Jalen Milroe. But you kick him. Look, he's a left guard. He's played left guard all his life. What are you going to do? One game at left tackle, you survived. You lived with it. He played well. But you kick him back to left guard. You're playing Parker Brailsford, but duh. You're playing Jaden Roberts, duh. Those 2 things have never changed this year. And then you go to right tackle. What do you do? What do you do? You can tell me in the comments. So what do you want to see Alabama do at the right tackle position at Joe Gaither 6? And look, it's fine. There's no wrong answers at this point because here's the thing. Are you playing Elijah Pritchett? And you're saying to yourself, okay, I am okay with, let's just say, inconsistent effort. I am okay with inconsistent effort because when it is high, when the motor is running, the production is high. The execution is good. Or you say, okay, I will play Wilkin Formby, have a little bit of – you're not going to have as bad of a night as you had on Saturday. Let's just be honest with ourselves. But you play Wilkin Formby. He's not as physically gifted as Elijah Pritchett. He's still really physically gifted. He's a redshirt freshman. I mean, the man's going to get better. But you put him out there. You survive the growing pains. And you say, okay, we're going to shift our help to the right tackle position, give Wilkins some help, and let, Tyler Booker, let our veterans, Tyler Booker, and let Caden Proctor kind of work it out. Caden Proctor had the working out season last year. We're going to help Wilkin. We're going to help him with Jam Miller and Justice Haynes and running back protection. I think that's what you do. Now, what I think you will see on Saturday is I think you're going to see both linemen. I think you're going to go back, and I think you're going to see the original plan finally come to fruition. Because you got out of fall camp and you knew that Caden Proctor was your left tackle. You knew Tyler Booker, Parker Brailsford, Jaden Roberts, and you knew the right tackle position was going to be somewhat in flux, somewhat in movement. And you knew you're going to see both. I mean, basically, Kalen DeBoer told you we're going to see both players. They're both going to get live action, like Wilkin Formby and Elijah Pritchett. They're both going to get live action. Well, before the season even starts, boom, that plan gets blown up with injury and gotten kind of had wrinkles thrown into it another week with more minor injuries to either Caden to Elijah Pritchett, and maybe looking for me, maybe. So the plan gets shaken up. Now you're going into week 3, and yeah, are you a little behind? Maybe, but you go back to the week 1 plan. You know who your first 4 are, and you say, okay, right tackle, you guys are going to get some help. We want to see how you play live action, power 4 opponent on the road, Big Ten opponent, jump around. We'll see if you can handle it. I think that's what you're going to see on Saturday, and because of that, I think Alabama's offense is going to operate at a high level. Look, you nearly have, like I said, 56 points with 2 penalties, not called or not committed. Let's just say whatever you want to say. You want to blame the refs? That's fine. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I mean, Wilkenform was holding. Gino Vandermark was holding. And so, okay, you take those 2 penalties away. You have better execution on those plays. And you get those touchdowns. You have 56-16. You're feeling great. You have better execution on the Kobe Prentice bomb, and you're back there in the red zone. And are you scoring or not? I don't know. You're rolling the dice. You're seeing what happens after that. But you probably are scoring. What's another 7 points on that? That's 63, right? And boom, you're right there at your week 1 production. And everybody's walking out of Brian Denny. Oh, we stink. The offense is terrible. Oh, Jalen Miller's horrible. They can't protect. Of course, there were definite issues on Saturday night, but I think a lot of that was due to some hurdles that maybe the coaching staff threw at its own players. Hey, man, we're not going to risk it with Caden Proctor. We're not going to risk it with Elijah Pritchett. You guys got to figure it out. Yeah, it doesn't mean that we're taking South Florida lightly. No, you don't take any opponent lightly, but you got to play better than you did Saturday. It was a little bit of a test, and I think the Alabama team, I mean, they didn't fail it because they definitely won, and they won by a wide margin, but they get a C+. C+ for Saturday. Going to have to play a little bit better this coming week, obviously, on the road. But I do think that Alabama's offense will be better. Wisconsin, over the last 2 weeks, have obviously we just hit on it. They play Western Michigan and South Dakota. They allowed 120 and 123 rushing yards in both weeks, back-to-back weeks. So that's 243 rushing yards over the 2 weeks. Does Alabama hit 240 in the game? Oh, I think there's a chance they might. Alabama's running game has been really, really deadly this year. And while I know a lot of you want to see the progression in the passing game, Jalen Milroe, continue to take steps in the passing game, I think that what Alabama will lean on this whole year is getting downhill on teams and getting justice and jam. I mean, look, you've seen it already this year. Justice and jam, you give them one crack in the defense, and those guys can both take advantage of it. Those guys, I mean, Justice, 85 yards right to the heart of the defense. Jam's had a couple of big ones as well. I think that the Wisconsin defense is going to be in for a long day from a running perspective, from a power perspective. All right, so let's get into 3 players to watch. We want to talk about 3 players to watch. We will recap last week's 3 players to watch, how we did, if we identified some winners or not. And then we've got 3 players to watch with the theme of 3. But before we do that, we want to tell you about our friends at Druid City Music Hall. Druid City Music Hall is the premier place for live music on the Strip. It's Thursday tonight. Tyler Braden's going to be playing down there. It's going to be a fun concert. He's going to kick it off at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow, Friday, Waylon Wyatt and Baker Blankenship. If you're not going out of town for the Wisconsin game and you're looking for Friday night entertainment, right there, 8 o'clock, Druid City Music Hall, Waylon Wyatt and Baker Blankenship. Next week, you're going to have concerts again. Thursday is going to be Nico Moon. It's a bye week, so Thursday is going to be pretty much their only concert. Get in there and see Nico Moon. And then they're going to have a huge, huge week for the Georgia matchup with a Friday night concert and more. So get on their website, check them out, druidcitymusichall.com, the premier place for live music on the Strip. And we appreciate them being a part of the Joe Gaither Show as well. Love seeing concerts and live music down there. All right, let's get into it. 3 players to watch for the week. Last week, we gave you 3 players to watch for the South Florida game. So we want to be transparent. Let's grade ourselves. Last week, we picked Pretty decently. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Jihad Campbell, Jalen Milroe, and LT Overton were our picks last week. And I thought LT was going to kind of break out in the pass rushing department. He did not do that. Jihad, 11 tackles, half sack, 1.5 tackle for a loss, and 1 pass defended. I'd say we did pretty good because Jihad Campbell led Alabama in tackles. Now, come on, you can say that's low-hanging fruit, but I would say that is a good pick for players to watch. Now, Jalen Milroe, you can debate his game all you want, but 16 for 26, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 12 carries, 2 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously struggled holding on to the football a little bit too much and struggled again with the snap. I mean, come on, that snap was largely on Jalen. I mean, you got to share a little bit of the blame, a little bit on Parker Brailsford as well, but largely on Jalen not receiving the snap. So you got a turnover right there, so that's not good. But four touchdowns, and basically you do what you need to do. I'd say that's a pretty decent pick. Not as good as the Campbell pick, but a pretty decent pick. I'll still say it's a winner. LT Overton as my 3rd pick. I think that's a loser as a pick. Not that he's a bad player. Sorry, LT, not calling you a loser, but didn't have the game that I thought you might have had. I know that was an off-the-board pick, kind of a little bit of a wild card. If I took the lowest hanging fruit possible with Jihad Campbell and Jalen Milroe, so I went off the board with LT Overton as my 3rd, and he only had 1 single tackle in the game as the backup bandit, but not to worry, LT Overton, you can still have a great week this week. Just wasn't your week last week, so we give ourselves a miss right there. Now, let's look at this week. I got 3 players to watch for the week, and then we're going to get out of here, and we got to record Football Friday so that we can play it on Friday as we're traveling to Wisconsin. If you're traveling to Wisconsin, you let us know in the comments section if you got recommendations for things that we can do in Wisconsin. We're going to be in Madison. Myself, Hunter DeCiver, will be there with Katie Wyndham. The whole BamaCentral crew will be there. You can subscribe to the BamaCentral YouTube channel to see everything that we do in Wisconsin. It's going to be a whole lot of fun at Camp Randall Stadium. I cannot wait to jump around up there. So my 3 players to watch for this week. Well, you cannot take any of the players that we took last week. Otherwise, I probably would take Jalen Milroe again. But we're taking 2 defensive players. We see a trend. We're taking 2 defensive players and an offensive player, just like last week. Our defensive players, we are going with Keon Sabb as our first defensive player. I think that Keon Sabb is going to get his 3rd interception of the year. Oh, yeah, the theme of this week, since it's the 3rd week of the year, and we're doing 3 players to watch, is 3s. And Keon Sabb gets his 3rd interception of the year. 2 interceptions against Western Kentucky. I think Tyler Van Dyke is going to get a little loose with it, and Keon Sabb is going to use his athleticism, going to be able to bait him into a pass that maybe he didn't want to make, and Keon Sabb gets his 3rd interception of the year. We'll keep it on the defensive side of the ball and go with Quandarius Robinson. Our thoughts are with Quandarius Robinson, going through probably something really, really challenging. I cannot imagine it. Has lost his father. His father passed away. He let the media know that after the game at South Florida. We're picking Quandarius Robinson not because of that fact, but because he had a really good game against South Florida, and he's had a good 2 weeks. The last week he had 7 tackles. He had one sack and 1 for a loss. He said that 1 tackle for a loss. He said that he dedicated the game to his late father. We're picking Quandarius Robinson, and his 3rd is that we think he's going for the 3rd straight week with a sack. You all can close your eyes and see him coming around the edge against Western Kentucky in that first game, getting Alabama's 1st sack of the game. It was a monster sack. Well, he had another sack against South Florida and Byron Brown. We think he's going 3 sacks in 3 straight weeks from the Wolf position. So Quandarius Robinson, not only are we pulling for you, not only are we praying for you, Alabama Nation is behind you. And I know, no fandom here really is what we're trying to do, but just from a human interest, praying for you for what you're going through, and we are putting you on one of our 3 players to watch. And we need to flip it to the offensive side of the ball, and man, you can go in so many different directions. Like I said, you can go Jalen Milroe again, but I feel cheap going back to the well with the quarterback, as obviously we're all going to be watching the quarterback I feel like it's not really fair to go the offensive line because we don't really know exactly who's going to be playing the offensive line. We have a really good guess. I think what I told you is pretty accurate, that you're going to see the first four and a rotation at the right tackle position. So, if you see the rotation at the right tackle position, that's obviously what you're going to watch. Not that not predicting either of them to have a great game. But as far as a player to watch that I think will have a great game, and to fit in with our theme of threes, we're going to take Jam Miller. Jam Miller, 2 weeks in a row of long touchdown runs. I think he went 39 yards against Western Kentucky, and I think he went 40-something yards against South Florida, both for touchdowns. He led Alabama. In rushing last week with 140 yards on 14 carries. So I'm picking Jam Miller this week as the offensive player to watch. So my three players to watch this week, again, are Keon Sabb, Quandarius Robinson, and Jam Miller. We're going to have a lot of fun this week. We're going to be flying up to Wisconsin, myself and Tyler Deceiver. We cannot wait to be there. Follow Hunter Deceiver right there on his Twitter machine at Hunter Deceiver, myself at Joe Gaither 6 on all my social media machines. I put a lot of photos, usually when I travel, on the Instagram/Facebook, but sometimes it goes on the Twitter machine. If you are interested in seeing that, it is all at Joe Gaither 6 on your favorite social media machine. Let's get out of here for the day and prepare for Football Friday with our friends by thanking our friends at State Farm once again. Derek Daniel, State Farm Insurance. You can find him right there off of McFarland Boulevard, 4604 Highway 69 North, Northport, Alabama, 35473. Go visit his team, Red Reese in Victoria. You can call them at 205-758-3391. They cannot wait to take your call, and they want to talk insurance with you. I know insurance isn't fun. They will make it easy for you. They'll at least make it easy and simple for you and fast. So it'll get you through the hassle as quickly and as simple as possible. Hey, I need new insurance. I'm buying a car. I'm selling a car. I'm trading one in. I need to exchange a policy. I need new renter's insurance. I just moved into a new house or changing apartments. You need renter's insurance. You need home, life, and auto insurance. Call Derek Daniel, State Farm Insurance, your good neighbor right here in West Alabama. Call him 205-758-3391. So we'll get out of here for the day, and the next time that we talk to you, we'll be in Wisconsin. We're going to be recording Football Friday on Thursday afternoon, and we will play it on Friday, midday Friday, while we're traveling, and then we'll try to check in with you a couple of different times on social media right there at Joe Gaither 6 as we travel to Wisconsin to cover the Crimson Tide against the Wisconsin Badgers. That's going to do it for the show today, and we'll check back in with you at Football Friday right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.